This week on Sports Paws, softball blasts things away and we'll preview some defending champs on the diamond. Women's lacrosse looks to stay perfect in the city, and some never-before-seen footage. All that and more coming up this week on Sports Paws. Hey everybody, and welcome to Sports Paws. I'm Ben Handelman, joined for the second time by Drew Davis. Drew, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me back, Ben. The last time my BCC level blood caffeine content level was a little high, but I'm ready to go this time.
We drugged him before the show, and we're ready to go. So the winter season's over. Pretty successful job by everybody. Only team not to make the playoffs was the women's ice hockey team, but everything looked good on the winter end.
Yes, great winter season for men's ice hockey, men's basketball, and women's basketball, but now it's time to go outside.
So we'll start off with the smaller diamond, the women's softball team, and to the Bobcat field we go. Softball team warming up at the Bobcat Field for a two-game series against Harvard out of the Ivy League. Bottom of the second, Bobcats down 1-0. Catch the Crimson's Haley Bach in a pickle. Nice work by Abbott and Henry to end the inning. Then, top of the third, Sarah Collins making the town of Bedford proud. Two-run jack towards North Lot, passing the old muscle flex to the team. 2-1 Bobcats lead, and will take a 5-2 lead into the fifth. Harvard's Bailey Vetrovez saying, "I can do that." Ping, gone. Solo shot cuts the lead, 5-3. Sophomore Carolyn Schmaltz starts to lose control. As you can see, a lot of balls in the dirt. And this pitch is going to get away from Sarah Abbott. Harvard's Pillar Adams makes it all the way to second to threat. But the Bobcats get out of the inning. Then top of the sixth, Lauren Brown gets nailed in the back. That would end Schmaltz's day and bring in closer Kristen Sheriff. And she would go right to work. Throws the first for 1 out. Throws the heat for 2. And then nice hands from Alyssa Manslaw would seal the deal. The Bobcats go on to win 5-3. Schmaltz with the win, and Sheriff gets the save. Good win for the Bobcats, and Drew Davis, you're our softball guru. It didn't go so well in Game 2.
No, Quinnipiac started off this game with a 1-0 lead, but then in the fifth inning, starting pitcher Jesse Score was taken deep by Harvard and scored a couple more runs in the top of the seventh, and Harvard took a 3-1 win. But Quinnipiac came back on Sunday. Northeast Conference play traveled down to Maryland for their NEC opener against Mount St. Mary's. Lost the first game 4-0, but then came back in the nightcap to win 11-5. So a split to start the NEC season for Quinnipiac women's softball.
That's good. Good to get a win right off the bat. And why don't we talk about the other team on, well, the mound. I guess that's a good way to put it. Other team pitching their way, trying to get a back-to-back NEC title. And Drew Davis, who's on the right, but don't look, did an NEC preview of the men's baseball team.
Strong senior pitchers and all-star first baseman Brian Sabatella helped the Quinnipiac baseball team win its first ever Northeast Conference championship last May. Now the defending champs must get back to business without their stars, but players like senior catcher Kevin McIlvain are eager to contribute once again.
Basically just do the same thing we did last year, play our position the best we can, drive the gaps, and hit as many home runs as I can, and help the team.
The biggest question this season has been the influx of freshman pitchers that were brought in to replace the seniors. Chris Wakefield is one of Quinnipiac's returning pitchers from last season. He believes setting a good example will help the new players.
We just got to set an example, lead by example. They're watching us, they see what we do out there if they're new to this scene, so we just got to set an example, let them follow us.
This season, the Bobcats were picked to finish second in the NEC preseason poll voted on by the coaches of the conference. To Quinnipiac, though, it doesn't matter what their team's like on paper. It's what they do on the field that counts.
All the preseason stuff doesn't mean anything. You still got to go out in the field and you still got to play. So, you don't win any championships or get any regular season titles for preseason awards. So you still got to go out and play hard.
At the end of the season, Quinnipiac hopes to be in position to win another NEC title. But to win the tournament, it comes down to one key element.
Oh, I don't think there's any question about that. It's who wants it. We certainly have plenty of talent to do that. We certainly have enough experience to do that. It always comes down to who wants it. Who wants it more than anybody else? That'll be the difference.
With the talent and experience they possess, this team believes they have a great opportunity to win the conference title again. The responsibility to accomplish that feat falls onto the veterans, who need to motivate the others and attempt to bring Quinnipiac back to the NEC mountaintop. I'm Andrew Davis for Sports Paws.
Well, now that you see who they are, why don't we see how they're doing?
In Game 1, the Quinnipiac baseball team took on Mount St. Mary's in NEC play. Chris Wakefield getting the start. Let's go to Bobcat Field and see how they did.
Game 1 of a 3-game bout with the Mountaineers. Ryan Rizzo, the junior out of East Northport, New York, leads off. But it was John Delaney who knocks in Kevin McIlvain for the first run, and the Bobcats lead 1-0. Bottom 2, Jeff Minetti goes yard. 3-run blast makes it 4-0 after a Tim Bengowski RBI double. Steve Stone's day would be Fine. Stephen Fay tries to bring Mount St. Mary's back in the game with a 2 RBI single, but that would make it 5-3. And Chris Wakefield pitches a gem. Bobcats tack down 4 more security runs to win 9-2. The Bobcats lose the second game and go into the rubber match. And Drew, how'd it turn out?
Well, Andy Meyer took the mound for the Bobcats, and they pulled out an 8-5 win to win 2 out of 3 against the Mount at home. So a very good weekend for the baseball team as they look to get back to the NEC playoffs and another NEC title.
And they're in good standing right now, standing just in the last playoff spot in 4th place, correct?
Yes, right now playing pretty well, hoping to keep it up.
So make sure you go out and check out those teams. It's always sunny, a good time at the Bobcat Field, and we'll prove why. Jaywalking Justin Cohen gives us his last installment of his segment.
Hello, I'm Justin Cohen, and welcome to the final installment of the year of Jaywalking here on Sports Paws. Today, we asked our gurus how many NEC tournaments the Quinnipiac Bobcats baseball team had won.
I think the Bobcats entered the NEC about 8 years ago.
Right.
We became Division I, the Northeast Conference. Their website is northeastconference.org. I was looking at the website. The correct answer for NEC tournament wins for Quinnipiac Bobcats is
2.
0.
The answer is probably none.
1. The answer is 1 last year in 2005.
So 1 is the correct answer. The next question for our sports geniuses: how many NEC tournament games had the Bobcats won? So they've obviously won at least 1 tournament game.
Right. Well, obviously, but it takes more to win the tournament.
Yeah, it's like 4 or 5 games they had to win last.
I'll say double digits. Is that good enough? No, it's not double digits.
Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot of games.
So
I'll say 7.
It's got to be 4 or 5.
6.
No.
9.
No.
I'm going to go with 5.
Double digits?
Because I think they were in a tournament the year before, but they didn't win.
5.
What? It's less than 4?
And the correct answer is
3 games.
For Sports Paws, I'm Justin Cohen.
So thanks to Justin Cohen for that 1 NEC title for the Quinnipiac Bobcats. 3 wins, all coming in 2005. Coming up on the show, we'll head over to the turf field across the street from Quinnipiac University to check out the women's and men's lacrosse team as they're in action.
Also, we're going to take a look at our interview of the week with Pete Kummerfeld. Interesting story, and you can also come back and look at our beautiful faces. All coming up on Sports Paws.
On this job, you notice things, like this new Steak Fanatic pizza. It's a big hit with the guys.
Steak Fanatic pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Man fuel. Cool.
Hey, hurry up! Only 23 figurines left, Hank! They're statues!
They're statues.
Introducing Domino's new Steak Fanatic Pizza. Angus steak piled on even more steak smothered in cheese. Buy a medium for just $9.99 and heap on even more Angus steak for just $2. Hit the door. It's Domino's new Steak Fanatic Pizza.
Catch Sports Paws. No! Only on Q30.
What do you get when you mix a chef, a plumber, and a policeman with an abandoned restaurant? A recipe for success. With the help of their local community coalition, these 3 brought in carpenters and electricians. They donated time and materials and helped turn that old restaurant into a family center. Now they're all building a better community. volunteering to help keep kids away from drugs. And that's the tastiest dish of all. Visit helpyourcommunity.org to see what your group can do, because you get more
when you get together.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Sports Paws. I'm Ben Handelman, joined by my partner in crime, we'll call him, Drew Davis to my side. And why don't we move from the softball and baseball fields to the artificial stuff, the turf.
Yeah, the women's lacrosse team was in action, not at home on the artificial turf this week. They took on Mount St. Mary's, the defending NEC champions, and pulled out a 12-11 win in overtime. Then went over to Staten Island, New York to take on Wagner in a thriller. Let's take a look at the action.
It was a beautiful day in Staten Island, New York, and the 3-0 Lady Bobcats were looking to storm all over the 0-3 Wagner Seahawks. Things weren't too sunny for the Bobcats in the first half. QU was outshot 20-13 in the first quarter, and a lot of it had to do with great defense from Wagner. Here, Danielle Mormeal drives to the net, but gets her ball knocked out of her stick by Nicole Chipolone. WC scored 3 of the game's first 4 goals, and Jessica Richmond makes it 3-1 Seahawks with a great turnaround shot to beat goalie Ashley Thompson. With the Bobcats struggling early on, junior Kelly DeLaghi tries to go the 5-hole off a set play, but Wagner's Amy Jones steers it aside. Wagner opened up their lead on a great rush by Richmond. The Seahawk gets a feed from her teammate, avoids defenseman Jessica Miranda, fakes a pass and whips a shot into the back of the net, making it 6-2 Seahawks. Going the other way, QU looks to slice Wagner's early lead. Jennifer Larson looks for a give and go with Katie DeLaghi, but her basket wasn't big enough and the Bobcats turned it over. Down 8-2, Quinnipiac catches a break. With 2 defenders on her, Cara Gonzalez manages to get a shot off, but it sails over the crossbar. But Darby Biggert picks up her teammate's shot, comes around the net, and clanks a shot off the left post. Then the Bobcats went on the offensive. Mormeal dishes the ball at the top of the circle to DeLaghi. DeLaghi can't get past the flock of Seahawks, so she sends the ball back to Mormeal. Mormeal looks to shake and bake, but ouch! Number 2 gets hacked by a Wagner defender. Moments later, Nicole Fiore beats the defenders to the net and scores to end the first half with the Bobcats down 10-6. Moving to the second half, Quinnipiac looked to do onto Wagner as Wagner had done onto them. Mormeal heads one way, then turns back and finds super frosh Tiffany Manzi, who fakes out a Wagner defender and sails a shot over the goaltender to cut the Wagner College lead to 11-8. Then Mormeal decides to take it to the hole. She dipsy-doodles past Caitlin Paper and makes paper mache out of the Wagner defense to cut the lead down to 2 at 11-9. The Lady Bobcats continued their second half surge moments later. Manzi finds Lauren Egan wide open in the middle of the circle, who one-times it past Jones to tie things up at 11. After giving up 4 straight goals, Wagner got out of its funk. Off a set play at midfield, Cara Gonzalez weaves around the scrambling Bobcat defense to put her side up 13-11. Gonzalez wasn't done as she goes 5-hole on Renee Hughes to extend Wagner's lead to 14-11. Wagner looks to put this one in the books minutes later. Heather George has the Bobcats goalie beaten, but clanks a shot off the left post, this time to keep the Bobcats' hopes alive. QU answered back to make it 14-13, but they couldn't stop the surging Seahawks. Kelly Blunden beats her defender at the center of the circle, but guess what? She clanks it off the right post. The Bobcats seemed to use all their 5 lives at this point, but they had more comeback left in them. Check out Lauren Egan driving to the net. She gets a shot off, gets knocked down, and it goes in! Egan's goal ties it up at 14 with 8:30 to go. Then the Bobcats take their first lead of the game with 5 minutes left. Danielle Mormeal draws 2 defenders and finds a wide-open DeLaghi to put QU in front by 1 goal with 5 minutes to go. Then, just when Quinnipiac thought they could escape with a victory, Wagner had a different idea. With 3 QU defenders on her, Heather George sends the ball to Katie DeLaghi, who rifles a shot that appears to clank off the crossbar, then the left post, and shoot out behind Renee Hughes. But, taking another look at it, the shot hits the top corner of the net, and just like Australian rules football, the official signals a goal, tying the game up at 15 with just a minute to play. It would take 4 overtimes to decide this topsy-turvy affair. Both teams scored a goal during the first 2 overtimes, and Danielle Mormeal refused to let her team lose this one. In the 4th overtime, Quinnipiac appeared to have a 2-on-1 break, but Wagner gets back. After fumbling the ball, Mormeal uses her great vision to find a streaking Tiffany Manzi to end it. An elated Quinnipiac Bobcats club storms the field and breathes a sigh of relief as the Bobcats go 4-0 in the NEC with a 17-16 4-overtime win over the Seahawks. Mormeal ends up with 5 goals and 3 assists, and freshman Manzi 2 goals and 1 assist. I'm Rocco Lowe for Sports Paws.
Thanks, Rocco. And with the basketball season over, let's take a look at some never-before-seen footage of the NEC Women's Tournament Tip-Off Special. Keep in mind, Sacred Heart ended up the champs, and let's see how our experts thought it would end up. Matt Janik, the voice. Matt, thanks for joining us.
Glad to be here.
Michael Feldstein, he's coming all the way from Florida. Is that where you're from New York.
No, I'm from Long Island.
Yeah, the kid from Florida is over here. Anyway, Rocco, he's done picks too. He's my co-host. I'm introducing just for the heck of it. Drew Davis, welcome, Drew.
Hey, I brought the hotness, and so did these ladies.
Okay, and Justin Cohen, the only man on our team to actually go to Florida and see the team play.
That's right. I saw this team play Stetson, so I guess that makes me qualified.
Well, it also helps that you live in Florida.
So, does anyone have an opening comment about how they thought the season went? Obviously, a lot of parity this year, and Mr. Feldstein, you look
Ben,
eager to say something.
I agree with you a lot. I'm just saying that even though there are some teams who didn't even make this tournament, I think there's a lot of unpredictability here, in the sense that on any given night, regardless whether a team was on the road or at home, any team had a fair chance of winning. While there were, you had your top seeds with Sacred Heart, the Bobcats, Robert Morris throughout the year. There was a chance that one of those lower teams in the NEC could pull up a surprising upset victory, and I think that really made it so, unpredictable this year. The Bobcat girls were not predicted to finish this high, and, they proved everyone wrong for a 20-win season. All
right, Mr. Feldstein, you talked way too long. That means we're going to have to cut right into some bracketology. Here's how it's going to work. We're going to take a look at the bracket. These guys are going to tell you who they think is going to go past the first round into the semis, and then we'll take it from there and predict each person until everybody says who they think will win. And Mr. Janik, why don't we start with you? First round.
First round, I think you have the top three in the conference, Sacred Heart, Quinnipiac, Robert Morris. They've shown throughout the season that they're that much better than everybody else, most of their losses coming against each other. So I expect all three of them to move through quite easily. The 4-5 game, a little more interesting. And I went with LIU just for the sake of having a first round upset.
So you didn't care that they lost their last game to CCSU?
Didn't really care.
Okay, Mr. Feldstein, how about your first
Well,
pick?
I'm going to be following the same trend with the top three seeds advancing. However, I got Monmouth advancing over LIU. I mean, those top three teams, like you said, they just beat each other up. Those are where the big losses came from. Other than that, I think those are your strongest teams.
And Mr. Rocco Aloe.
You know what? I'm going along with a lot of these guys. The top three are definitely going through. Sacred Heart played Fairleigh Dickinson twice this season, blew them out of the water both times. So that's not going to be a contest. My upset, if you want to call it that, in the first round is going to be LIU over Monmouth.
Another LIU fan, a little Blackbird love going on here from Rocco Aloe. Mr. Drew Davis.
Well, I'm going with Sacred Heart in round number 1, Amanda Pape and Nicole Rubino. That's all you need to know. In the 2-7 game, definitely go with Quinnipiac to take on CCSU, but watch out for Gabrielle Goubelet. The 3-6 game, going with Robert Morris. Natasha Somerville is going to lead them to the victory. And then 4-5, Monmouth versus LIU. I mentioned before that LIU has no rebounding, and that is going to be the key to this game. Monmouth wins this game.
And Justin Cohen, any Floridian thoughts over there?
Well, I'm going to go for the sweep at the first three. It's got to be Sacred Heart, Quinnipiac, and Robert Morris. I don't think we need to explain that anymore. I'm also going with LIU over Monmouth. They're basically, in most stats, pretty close together. It's going to make for an interesting game, but I think LIU is going to just, like the voice picked, just for the sake of picking an upset, LIU.
So that means no love for CCSU and Mount St. Mary's from our crew. Or Fairleigh Dickinson. Or Fairleigh Dickinson.
Yeah.
Well, we should include them too. But it looks like if we took a vote right now, it's LIU. You guys are predicting the 5-4 upset, and I think we have a future show coming just talking about who the loser is of this round. But, so that'll bring us to the semifinals. The top seeds, they get reseeded here. So the top team will play the lowest remaining seed. The second highest seed will play the third highest seed. That's how it will work. And Matt Janik, you had the 1, 2, 3, 5 game. So what do you have going in the semifinals?
I got Quinnipiac and Robert Morris at the Burt Concourt here in Hamden, and that could be a very interesting game. I think Quinnipiac takes advantage of the fact that they beat Robert Morris just this past week, uses the home court advantage, knocks them off, and moves on to the finals. Sacred Heart, pretty much unbeatable at home thus far this year. They should stomp all over the Blackbirds and end their Cinderella story.
Okay, 1-2. So we talk about all this parity, and Mr. Janik doesn't buy it. Wants to put the top two teams in. Mr. Feldstein?
Well, like you said, I mean, I think Quinnipiac, I think what's been so good about them this year is most good teams you'll see they'll dominate at home. But I mean, the Bobcats this year have dominated at home on the road as well. But they're going to be home for this game, and hopefully there's a good student turnout, because as we've seen from the other sports this winter, how big an impact student support can have on this team. Now, here's where things get interesting for me. Sacred Heart versus Monmouth. Now, Sacred Heart, after losing to the Bobcats by over 20 points a couple weeks ago, went on to win their last 7 games of the year. However, they bumped into Monmouth at the end of the year and only beat them by a score of 64-63. So I'm feeling a little bit going in the end of the year. Maybe Monmouth found something about this team. Maybe they found a little way they can possibly beat them. I'm going with the big upset of my bracket. I'm going to have Monmouth being Sacred Heart.
There it is. You heard it. The big upset, the first one to speak. So anyone else who had that, you are now unoriginal. Rocco Alone.
Well, I can't say I followed him because I took Sacred Heart and LIU in the second round, and Sacred Heart's going to win this one. Mr. Davis over here talking about LIU. Lack of rebounding. Well, they're in trouble because Sacred Heart's a great rebounding team. The other game, I'm taking Robert Morris and Quinnipiac here at the Burcon Court. For those of you that saw the game last week, Quinnipiac won that one. They're going to do the same this time, and it's going to be a 1-2 final, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, let me just say Michael Feldstein's pick of the upset special is the same thing as him finding a new hairstyle. It just has not happened anytime recently, and it will not happen again. Sacred Heart will dominate at the Pitt Center over Monmouth and advance to the finals, where they will take on Quinnipiac. Robert Morris, a great team, good from three-point land, but I think this Quinnipiac team defensively with Monique Lee and also the outside play of Erin Kerner and Brianna Rooney will bring them to the finals.
And you bring up a good point, Mr. Davis. The Sacred Heart undefeated in NEC. Actually, I think they're undefeated all year long at the Pitt Center, so that'll be a tough win for Monmouth, but I'm not counting them out either. They played not only Sacred Heart well, but Quinnipiac well. But Justin, we're not going to forget about you over there. Just
in the corner.
In the corner.
In the lone corner here.
So,
well, you know, gotta go with Sacred Heart over LIU. There's no beating Sacred Heart at home, especially for a team like LIU. And then I also am picking Quinnipiac over Robert Morris. I just think that Quinnipiac has solved Robert Morris. We saw that in the second half of the game. Robert Morris did come out in the first half of their game at Quinnipiac pretty tough. But you know, going after the halftime, you know, they came back and really shut them down. And I think that they learned from their mistakes and they're just going to keep going.
All right, so it's all Bobcat pride in the finals, and not surprising considering everyone here goes to Quinnipiac. Isn't that funny?
Gee.
We should have brought in maybe some Robert Morris Colonial fans, but they're about an 8-hour drive.
This is a team definitely deserving of making the semifinals the championship game. I mean, young team. They've had a great season. They weren't expected to do this. They have a great mix of young talent, young energetic talent, Rooney, Kerner, and the like, and then your veteran leaders, Lee and Charmaine Steele.
You said some interesting things there because Monique Lee, the veteran leader, is only a sophomore, and Quinnipiac is starting 3 freshmen, and nobody has said that the experience as being a freshman in the NEC championship is going to hurt him.
I could agree with Morocco. I did not pick Quinnipiac to advance to the finals because I go here. I picked Quinnipiac to advance to the finals because they quite honestly are the better team. Robert Morris is just not. You know, they play well at the beginning, but they just didn't seem to finish that game, and I think that they're gonna pay for it now that Quinnipiac has seen them play bad.
Once again, Cohen not looking at the stats because Robert Morris does have a win over Quinnipiac this year.
Stats mean nothing in the playoffs. That's all I gotta say.
And we will look to see that. So here we go. Blackbird Love. We went through to the semifinals. Nobody picks them, and nobody picks Robert Morris to go to the championship. What a shame. And only one fan over here says, Monmouth, right?
Yes, yeah.
All right.
Over here, yeah.
But, all right, so here we go. For everyone except for you, Mr. Feldstein, we have Quinnipiac Sacred Heart in the Pitt Center, and your game actually has Quinnipiac being the home team because once again everything has moved back to campus this year, so the higher seed will get the championship game. So why don't we start it back over with the voice, and you've got Sacred Heart Quinnipiac at the Pitt Center. Who's winning that game?
Well, it's going to be a very interesting matchup. Both of these teams have blown out each other once during the regular season. I don't think you've seen both teams play their best game at the same time. Sacred Heart came out flat here at the Burcon Court. Quinnipiac came out flat over at the Pitt Center. I think they'll both bring their A game to the conference championship game. It'll be a real squeaker. And just for fun, I think the blue and gold going to take things at the Pitt Center in a squeaker.
All right, Mr. Feldstein, you've got Monmouth Quinnipiac at the Burcon Court.
I mean, this has just been a storybook year, and like everyone's been saying, it wasn't expected to happen, and I think we all kind of have to take a step back and kind of appreciate what happened this year, because you never know if it's going to ever happen again. You know, sometimes this is a once in maybe a coach's career for head coach Tricia Sackett-Fabry. I mean, she didn't even expect it, especially from her freshman. But look at Brianna Rooney. You guys talk about playoff experience. While she doesn't have any collegiate playoff experience, in high school she was in the state, she was in the counties, state playoffs year after year, advancing into some of the higher rounds and games. She does know how to play under big pressure, and I think she can handle it. She's had composure. You saw it in the Sacred Heart game. While she didn't have huge numbers, she was able to keep her composure and stay cool. And I think to see that out of their freshmen is really a great thing, not only for this year, but definitely for years to come in the future.
All right.
So I think they're going to win.
There goes your Monmouth sneaking in with the championship is X-Nay, and you give it to Quinnipiac 2 in a row. Rocco Aloe.
You know, Ben, I want to say Quinnipiac here, but just looking at the numbers, I don't think it's going to.
Woo! There it is. There it is. We were waiting for it. Didn't want the Quinnipiac Bobcat champion.
I know. We'll get to Drew in a second. You might want to strangle me. But, yeah, I mean, Sacred Heart's scoring margin of victory, 14 points, and the next highest is Quinnipiac at 3.3. Sacred Heart's played amazing on their home court. And, yeah, Mike, you mentioned the youth. They've, had the experience in high school with the championships, state playoffs, all that. But it's a different ball game when it comes to college. It's going to be a tight one, but Sacred Heart's going to take this one. They're going to go to the NCAA tournament.
And if things work out the way it did, we have to remember that Sacred Heart took the 23-point victory. Is that how many it was?
I mean, they may have come out flat, but they still lost by 23. So, or Quinnipiac may have come out flat, but they still lost by 23.
So that would go with your prediction. I'm just helping your points here. But Drew Davis.
Don't worry, Rocco, I won't wrangle your neck. Unfortunately, this is the end of the road for the Quinnipiac Bobcats. In the Pitt Center, I believe that Sacred Heart is going to take the NEC championship for 2005-2006, and I believe it is all about the guard play of Amanda Pape. I believe she is going to be the NEC Player of the Year, and she is going to lead the Pioneers, take them on her back, and lead them to the championship. Quinnipiac, although they'll keep it close, I think the Pioneers are going to win the championship.
All right, Drew Davis, that's interesting. Not only killing the Bobcats, but killing Monique Lee, who is a finalist for Player of the Year with her big points and rebounds. So, Drew, you may be excommunicated from the Bobcats if it ends up that way.
Hey.
But, Justin, we were 2-2 right now. Who's going to win it?
I'm going to break the tie with Quinnipiac. That's right. I'm going to steal a couple points from Voice here that, I'm sorry. I got to steal your points. They're very good points. They are. That it is going to be a very...
Justin, I'm going to stop you right now. If you're going to steal all his points, we don't want anything that's unoriginal. So, original points, please, Justin.
Well, it's going to be a very, very tight game. I think it's going to come down to whoever plays the better defense. Quinnipiac does like to put on a lot of pressure. So, I think that if Quinnipiac plays great defense and keeps them in the backcourt as much as possible, I think that we'll be seeing Quinnipiac win this game. Now, I'd like to also point out what Felstein said about this maybe being only a once in a lifetime, once in at least the time that we're here. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that we're getting a lot more freshmen coming in that are as talented or even more talented. And I think that this winning the NEC right now, I think is just the tip of the iceberg. We might not win the NEC for a few years, but I think we're going to be consistently in the top 2, top 3 of the conference.
All right, I completely lost you when you said the Bobcats were going to win and then said that they might not win it for the next few years.
In the future, but beyond this
year. So you're saying they're going to do it?
I'm saying they're going to do it this year. Right. I'm saying beyond this, maybe they won't. But I think that they're going to consistently, in the next few years, be a second.
I think I can explain.
All right.
Cohen's from... I got it.
Oh, wait.
Cohen's from Florida. It's been really cold out in Connecticut.
Brain freeze?
Frozen.
Yes.
All right, well, you guys have made interesting points. Once again, Sacred Heart undefeated on the court, and 3 out of 2 are saying that
3 out of 2?
3 over 2. That's the Floridian
3
stuff.
out of 5.
Say the Bobcats will come on top. Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's show up to these games, right, guys? So that's just about going to do it for us. Drew Davis, thanks for joining me on the show today.
Thank you very much, Ben Handelman. It was a joy to be with you once again.
You sound so excited. He's too hyped up on those meds. We popped a few in his mouth. Anyway, you can check us out on the web. It's www.q30.org. Throw the slash in there and type in Sports Paws. You'll find all the good stuff. Rocco Aloe always working hard on that. And other than that, one show left. Well, one real show, and then we'll do our final show spectacular here on the Sports Paws. For Drew Davis, I'm Ben Handelman. We'll see you next week. Peace.